It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It is.
And you know what that means.
Right.
Time for all those holiday tunes.
Yeah.
Those classics.
Yep.
The ones we all know and love.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest.
Okay.
Some of those classics come with
Right.
a little more baggage than others.
That's probably worth unpacking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And today, we're tackling a big one.
All right.
This song is practically
Big one.
synonymous with the holiday season.
Yes.
You've probably heard it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But for this deep dive, we're going
Hundreds.
beyond just enjoying the catchy melody.
Yeah.
We're going to explore its legacy,
Okay.
its controversies,
Right.
and what it says about how we view the world,
Uh-huh.
especially through the lens of history.
That's a great choice.
Really?
Because this song is more than just a holiday hit. It's
Okay.
a cultural phenomenon
Yeah,
with a fascinating and complex history.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 1984.
Okay.
We have famine in Ethiopia,
Right.
a group of British and Irish musicians.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest names in music at the time
Huge.
come together as Band-Aid,
Okay.
record this song,
Yep.
and it just explodes.
Because it's a global phenomenon.
Global
Yeah.
phenomenon. It's like raising over $178 million for famine relief
Yeah.
through the Band-Aid Charitable Trust.
Yeah.
That's a legacy.
Millions upon millions.
That's hard to ignore.
Hard to ignore.
And it set a precedent
Yeah.
for celebrity activism on a massive scale.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Huge.
it's an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
But as we dig deeper,
Yep.
we find this song raises
Okay.
a lot of important questions
Right.
about the methods used
Mm-hmm.
and the way it represents Africa.
Okay.
Questions that have become even more prominent over the years.
It's a classic example.
More prominent.
How good intentions
Yeah.
don't always translate
Yeah.
into the most effective
Yeah.
or sensitive approach.
Let's unpack some of those questions.
Okay.
Starting with the lyrics.
Oh, right.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't aged very gracefully,
Yeah.
that line.
Yeah.
Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
It's a bit jarring in today's context, isn't it?
In today's context,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And it highlights
Yeah.
a crucial point of contention.
Yeah.
The song's portrayal of Africa
Okay.
as helpless and needing saving,
Helpless.
which
Oh.
feeds into what's known as the savior complex.
Mm.
The savior complex.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate
The savior complex
on that?
refers to a tendency
A little bit.
often seen in Western portrayals
Sure.
of developing nations
Okay.
to depict these regions
Okay.
as entirely reliant
Okay.
on external help,
Right?
ignoring their own agency, complexity,
Yeah.
and diverse solutions.
Right.
And it often comes with
Right.
a sense of moral superiority
No superior.
that we know better and need to rescue them.
Right, and them.
Yeah,
And they know it's Christmas.
right.
That savior complex plays out in the lyrics,
Okay.
the music video,
Yeah,
even in the very premise of a group of Western celebrities
yeah.
rallying to save Africa.
Exactly. It reinforces this idea of a monolithic Africa,
Monolithic Africa.
suffering uniformly,
Suffering uniformly.
rather than acknowledging
Rather than
the continent's 54 diverse countries with their unique challenges and strengths.
with their own challenges and strengths.
Yeah.
And that simplified narrative
Right.
has drawn criticism from various figures,
Okay.
including Fuse's ODG,
Including.
a British Ghanaian rapper,
Okay.
and DeWitt Georges,
Okay.
an Ethiopian official.
An Ethiopian official.
Their critiques are very insightful.
Their critiques are very insightful.
They point out how reducing Africa to just suffering
Right.
reinforces stereotypes.
And can create a sense of shame for diaspora communities.
Create shame for diaspora communities.
Diaspora communities.
Yeah.
It's interesting how their critiques
Yeah, it is.
tie into the larger conversation
It is.
about ethical storytelling
Right.
and humanitarian campaigns.
Ethical storytelling.
Ethical storytelling.
In this context,
Yeah.
is about moving away
Explain that a bit.
from narratives that rely on pity
Okay.
and helplessness,
Okay.
and instead focusing on
Focusing on
empowerment,
dignity,
dignity,
and collaboration with the communities we aim to support.
collaboration with the communities
Yeah.
we aim to support.
Right.
So instead of presenting a single,
Okay.
often simplistic narrative,
Right.
ethical storytelling aims to highlight
Ethical storytelling.
The diverse experiences and voices
Aims to
within a community or region.
highlight the diverse experiences and voices within a community or region. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about showcasing resilience
Right.
and agency, not just victimhood.
An agency.
For instance,
Right.
the organization Radiate
For instance.
uses satire to challenge traditional,
Yeah.
often problematic
Okay.
approaches to charity.
Approaches.
Their videos highlight
The charity.
the absurdity of some campaigns
Right. Yeah.
while advocating for more respectful
and collaborative approaches.
as some campaigns.
So it's about shifting the focus
yeah,
from saving to supporting and empowering.
supporting and empowering.
Yes. Yeah.
That recognizing
Recognizing
that lasting change
that lasting change
comes from within these communities,
comes from within these communities,
not imposed from outside.
not imposed from outside.
It's about amplifying those voices.
It's about
and solutions not speaking for them.
Those voices and solutions not speaking for them.
And that makes you think, how do we,
Yeah.
Band-Aid style project,
Right.
need to approach things
Mm-hmm.
in today's world to be truly effective
Okay.
and respectful?
And respectful.
What would a modern,
Modern.
ethically informed version of Do They Know It's Christmas?
Ethically informed version.
That's an important question.
Do they know it's Christmas?
But before we dive into potential solutions,
Like.
let's consider Bob Geldof himself,
That's an important question.
the driving force behind Band-Aid.
That's a good question.
His response to all the criticism the song has received
That is
interesting, to say the least.
Bob Geldof.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He seems to welcome the debate.
He seems to welcome the debate.
He's certainly not shy
Yeah.
about expressing his opinions.
Not shy
I came across a quote
about expressing his opinions.
where he said,
Right.
I'm always up for a scrap.
I'm always up for a scrap.
That seems to sum him up quite well,
Yeah.
even with the criticism.
That seems
The song remains inescapable.
sum him up
Inescapable.
quite well.
It's still getting played
Yeah.
every holiday season.
Still getting played
And there's even a 40th anniversary remix
every holiday season.
coming out that blends the original 1984 version
Oh, wow.
with the 2014 remix,
With the 2014 remix.
which leads us to a fascinating dilemma.
Okay.
Does the song's continued popularity
Fascinating.
mean we simply ignore its problematic elements?
Dilemma.
Or can we listen differently now,
Yeah.
recognizing both the good it achieved
Recognizing both the good
and the harm it may have caused?
and the bad.
It's a complex question.
Right.
Some argue that the song's cultural relevance
It's a complex question.
is precisely why its problematic elements are so concerning,
Yeah.
because it reinforces these potentially harmful stereotypes.
Because it reinforces
On
such a massive
platform.
potentially harmful stereotype.
Exactly.
Such a massive platform.
And it normalizes a way of thinking about aid in development.
And it normalizes
It's like we've now recognized as outdated
a way of thinking
and potentially detrimental.
about aid and development.
So we're left grappling with this tension.
Yeah.
A song that undoubtedly did a lot of good,
Right.
raising awareness and significant funds,
Mm-hmm.
but also perpetuates a narrative that many find problematic.
Right.
It feels like a microcosm of how we're reevaluating a lot of things from the past,
It absolutely does.
doesn't it?
It's similar to how we're looking at historical figures,
It does.
classic literature,
Yeah.
even old movies with a fresh perspective.
Fresh perspective.
Yeah, we're becoming more aware
Yeah.
of the nuances, the complexities, and sometimes the
Yeah.
harmful elements embedded in
Something
things we once took for granted.
Took for granted.
Yeah,
And that awareness can be
right.
a bit uncomfortable.
Discomfort can be a catalyst for growth.
Uncomfortable.
It's not about erasing the past or dismissing the good
Yeah.
that was achieved.
The good that was achieved.
Right.
It's about engaging with it differently.
It's about engaging with it differently,
Differently.
with a more critical and informed eye.
With a more critical and informed eye.
Yeah.
So how does that apply
You know,
to Do They Know It's Christmas?
to do they know it's Christmas?
Can we still enjoy the song?
That's the question we all have to grapple with.
Enjoy knowing that it carries these problematic elements.
There's no easy answer.
Problematic elements.
We can acknowledge the song's historical context,
No easy answer.
understand the criticisms,
Right.
and still appreciate the artistry.
Appreciate the artistry.
And the intent behind it.
Intent behind it.
It's about holding those seemingly contradictory ideas in our minds simultaneously.
Holding the seemingly contradictory ideas in our minds. Simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that things can be both good and flawed at the same time. Good and flawed.
And that recognition is a sign of growth.
At the same time?
Of a more nuanced understanding of the world.
A sign of growth.
It's a process.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel conflicted.
More nuanced understanding of the world.
Right.
It's a process.
Yeah.
So instead of simply dismissing the song.
So instead of simply
ignoring its flaws.
Dismissing the song or ignoring its flaws.
We can use it as a springboard.
You can use it as a springboard.
Deeper reflection.
For deeper reflection.
Deeper reflection.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can spark conversations about evolution of aid and development.
Conversations about the evolution.
About the importance of
aid and development.
Ethical storytelling.
About the importance.
About how we represent different cultures.
Of ethical storytelling.
About how we represent
different cultures and communities.
Different cultures and communities.
It's a reminder that awareness
is
an ongoing process. Awareness is an ongoing process.
Ongoing process.
Yeah.
We learn.
We learn.
We evolve.
We evolve.
And we hopefully do better moving forward.
Do better moving forward. Right.
And that's where
the power
of dialogue comes in. By talking about these issues.
Right.
Sharing different perspectives.
By talking about these issues.
And listening to each other.
Sharing different perspectives.
We can collectively work towards
and listening to each other.
A more just and equitable world.
We can collectively
more just and equitable world.
Work towards a more just and equitable world.
So as we're listening.
Right.
To Do They Know It's Christmas this year.
So as we're listening.
Maybe we can do so with a new set of ears.
To Do They Know It's Christmas this year.
New set of ears.
Yeah.
Not just hearing the catchy tune.
Maybe we can do so.
But also listening.
With a new set of ears.
For the echoes of history.
Right.
The good intentions.
Not just hearing the catchy tune.
And missteps.
But also listening for.
And the potential.
The echoes of history.
For a more informed approach to global issues.
A good intention.
A more informed approach.
A misstep.
To global issues.
And the potential for.
A maybe.
More informed approach.
Just maybe.
To global issues.
It will spark a conversation at your holiday gathering.
And maybe, just maybe.
It's an opportunity to reflect.
It will spark a conversation at your holiday gathering.
On our own evolving understanding of the world.
It's an opportunity.
And how we can contribute to positive change.
To reflect on our own.
Contribute to positive change.
The evolving understanding of the world.
And isn't that what the holiday season is all about?
And how we can contribute to positive change.
Connection.
Beautifully put.
And striving to be a little bit better than we were yesterday.
Yeah, it is.
We've done a pretty deep dive.
It is about.
Into Do They Know It's Christmas?
Reflection connection.
We've explored.
And striving to be a little bit better.
Its history, its impact.
Than we were yesterday.
And the complexities it raises.
Yeah.
But we've only scratched the surface.
Right.
A much larger conversation.
Well, we've done.
A much larger conversation.
A pretty deep dive.
A conversation about the power.
Into Do They Know It's Christmas?
And responsibility of storytelling.
We've explored.
About the evolution of global aid.
Its history, its impact.
And development.
And the complexities it raises.
And about how we can all contribute to a more just and equitable world.
Scratch the surface of a
more just and equitable world.
Much larger conversation.
And that leads us to a final thought for you.
Conversation.
About the power and
as you navigate this holiday season.
Responsibility of storytelling.
What other songs?
About the evolution of global
traditions or cultural touchstones.
Aid and development.
Do you have a complicated relationship with?
And about how we can all contribute. Complicated relationship with.
To a more just and equitable world.
Things that bring you joy but also make you pause and think.
And that leads us to.
What aspects of your own holiday celebrations?
A final thought for you.
Might benefit from a fresh perspective.
Our listener.
A deeper understanding.
As you navigate.
Or a more nuanced approach.
This holiday season.
More nuanced approach.
What other songs, traditions, or.
It's food for thought as you deck the halls.
Cultural touchstones do you have?
Gather with loved ones.
A complicated relationship with.
And embrace the spirit of the season.
Things that bring you joy, but.
Embrace the spirit of the season.
Also make you pause and think.
It's about finding that balance.
What aspects of your own?
Between cherishing traditions and embracing growth.
Holiday celebrations.
Recognizing that awareness and reflection are gifts.
Might benefit from.
That keep on giving.
A fresh perspective.
Gifts that keep on giving.
A deeper understanding.
I am with that.
Or a more nuanced approach.
We wrap up our deep dive.
Food for thought as you.
Into Do They Know It's Christmas?
Deck the halls gather with.
We hope you found it insightful.
Loved ones and embrace the.
And thought-provoking.
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 It's about finding.
Happy holidays, everyone.
That balance between.
But happy listening.
Cherishing traditions and embracing.
Happy listening.
Growth, recognizing that awareness.
Yeah.
And reflection are gifts that keep on giving.
This is good.
And with that, we
happy holidays.
Wrap up our deep dive into Do They Know It's Christmas?
To you too.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking.
Sounds good.
And maybe even a bit inspiring.
Thanks.
Happy holidays, everyone. And
appreciate it.
Happy listening.
It's fascinating how Geldof positioned the song.
Mm.
He called it an instrument of change.
Oh.
And he said the controversies actually give him more leverage.
Yeah.
Because they keep the conversation going.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the conversation going.
He has a point.
Right.
Do they know it's Christmas had faded into obscurity?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this discussion.
Right.
It's precisely because it's so deeply ingrained in our holiday experience. That these critiques matter. Right. It becomes a cultural touchstone that reflects and potentially shapes our understanding of these issues.
So we're left with this intriguing question.
Right.
If we acknowledge the problematic aspects of the song's portrayal of Africa, how does that affect our personal relationship with the music?
That's a tough one.
Can we separate the art from the message?
It is
or do they remain intertwined?
It's a question and each listener has to answer.
For themselves.
But one thing that's clear is that greater awareness changes how we experience things. We can no longer listen with the same innocence.
That catchy tune.
That feeling of people coming together for a good cause. Those things are still there. But now we hear them.
But now,
alongside this layer,
there's this added
historical baggage.
Historical baggage.
This recognition of unintended consequences.
Unintended
consequences.
It's a bit like
finding out something troubling about a historical figure.
Like finding out something
you admired.
Troubling about a historical figure you admire.
It doesn't necessarily erase their accomplishments, but it adds a layer of complexity to how we view them.
It adds a layer of complexity.
How we view them. And that complexity
how we view them
is what makes this conversation so interesting, right?
Exactly.
Because it's not about simple answers.
That's what makes it.
Or black and white judgments.
So interesting.
Black and white.
It's about navigating the gray areas.
It's about navigating the gray areas.
The contradictions.
The
evolution of understanding.
Yeah. And perhaps it's also about asking.
And maybe it's also about asking.
What would a truly effective and respectful initiative look like today?
What would that look like today?
If a project like Band-Aid were launched in 2024.
Were launched today.
How could it avoid the pitfalls of the past?
How could it?
And genuinely empower the communities it aims to help.
Avoid the pitfall.
Empower the community.
Of the past.
It aims to help. That's a great question.
And genuinely empower.
Based on what we've discussed about ethical storytelling,
the community.
It seems like centering the voices.
It aims to help.
And perspectives of those directly affected by the crisis.
That's a great question.
Would be absolutely essential.
It is.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah, and based on what...
Instead of portraying Africa as this homogenous entity in need of saving...
About ethical storytelling.
It's crucial to highlight...
It seems like centering...
The continent's incredible diversity.
The voices and perspectives of those.
The agency of its people...
Directly affected.
And their own solutions and initiatives.
By the crisis.
Their own solutions and initiatives.
It'll be absolutely essential.
So involving African artists...
Absolutely.
Activists and organizations from the very beginning.
Instead of portraying Africa.
Making it a true partnership.
As this homogenous entity.
It's not a charity project.
In need of saving.
Driven by outsiders.
It's crucial to highlight
And outsiders.
Continent's incredible diversity.
Exactly.
The agency of its people.
It's about amplifying
and their own solutions.
Existing voices and supporting
initiative.
Local efforts.
Right.
Rather than imposing a preconceived narrative.
And so
preconceived narrative.
Involving African artists.
It's about understanding.
Activists and organizations.
The sustainable solutions.
From the very beginning.
Come from within these communities.
Making it a true partnership.
Within these communities.
Not a charity project.
It seems like a fundamental shift.
Driven by outsiders.
In
mindset is needed.
Right.
Moving away from this we know best mentality.
Exactly.
Towards a genuine willingness to listen.
It's about amplifying.
Learn and collaborate.
Existing voices.
Yeah.
And supporting local.
Learn and collaborate.
Efforts rather than imposing.
And that's really preconceived narrative.
At the heart of what we've been talking about.
Right.
It's about recognizing that true progress.
It's about understanding.
On global issues.
That sustainable solutions
requires humility, respect, and a commitment.
Come from within these communities.
So working together as equals.
Right.
Working together.
It seems like a fundamental shift.
As equals.
And mindset is needed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive.
Moving away from this.
And do they know it's Christmas? Maybe the takeaway isn't to simply condemn the song.
Towards a genuine willingness.
Or avoid it altogether.
To listen, learn. And
perhaps it's about listening to it.
Collaborate.
With a new awareness.
Yeah.
Hearing the echoes of history.
And that's really at the heart.
The good intentions.
This the missteps.
Of what we've been talking about.
And ultimately, the potential for a better way forward.
It's about recognizing.
A better way forward.
That true progress.
And recognizing that the conversation.
On global issues.
On an end here.
Requires humility.
It continues.
Respect and a commitment.
Every time we engage with art.
To working together.
With history, with the world around us.
As equals.
It's about keeping those questions alive.
Right.
Challenging assumptions.
So as we wrap up this.
And using our voices to advocate.
Deep dive into.
Positive change.
Do they know it's Christmas?
The positive change.
Maybe the takeaway.
Beautifully said.
Isn't to simply condemn the song.
And on that note.
Or avoid it altogether. We'll conclude our deep dive into Do They Know It's Christmas?
Perhaps it's about.
We hope you found it insightful.
Listening to it with a new.
Thought-provoking and maybe even.
Awareness, hearing the echoes of history.
A bit inspiring.
The good intentions, the missteps.
Inspiring.
Ultimately.
Happy holidays, everyone.
The potential for a better way.
And happy listening.
Happy listening.
And recognizing that the conversation.
Right, sound good.
Doesn't end here. It continues every time. We engage with art, with history, with the world. Around us, it's about keeping those questions alive, challenging assumptions, and using our voices to advocate for positive change.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll conclude our deep dive into Do They Know It's Christmas? We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a bit inspiring. Happy holidays, everyone, and happy listening.